Well, that brings us sort of to the end. As sort of a concluding thing, I'm really pleased with the talks I've seen. There are a lot of new folks in attendance, which is really terrific. Our attendance this year is a little lower than in years past. I guess it comes and goes. Any thoughts about this before we close things out? Anyone?
Well, thanks again for organizing, John. That was really, really helpful and a lot of fun.
Are there places we need to be going that we're not? We've got some new technologies that people have talked about for our community. Are there technologies that we need?
Well, that cell counting device sounded like a a good step forward.
I put in an order for the thing yesterday, and so my hope is I can send everybody a message about this really, really soon.
I actually played with that device a couple of months ago, John, the Bacto box.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And in my hands, it did really well with mycoides, the larger cells. But when you get to the minimal cells like genitalium and sin, I had difficulties getting it to work right. It was about a log off what I would expect to see if you'd be on a full culture in my hands. Now that, I didn't play with it long, I only played with it about a week. But it was also one of those devices where you probably shouldn't put an undergraduate on it. If that makes sense. You're going to have to clean the living crap out of it every time. That's one of the main drawbacks. You spend more time cleaning than doing the experiment. About like 10 times cleaning than you do actually doing the experiment. Work.
But good to know, James.
They may fix some of that stuff, and like I said, it was early in the beta process when I was dealing with it. So,
and the instrument that you used, they announced a new version of the thing just last week. So we'll see about that. One thing
this was really in the beta test.
One thing I remember you guys saying is that it worked reasonably well for cells in logarithmic growth, but not too well for cells in senescent growth, senescent phase.
That was true too.
But not many of us are focusing on senescent cells these days. An interesting process that maybe we will be getting into.
A final question regarding technology. It comes down to the simple things. What's the number of the cells? What's the volume? And what's their density? And density in the terms of really gram per volume. Is there any good technique to study this? I mean, centrifugation maybe, but is there other optical methods to get a quick assay of cell density, physical density?
One technique that occurs to me is by the Manalis group at MIT that does the cantilever-based measurement of buoyant mass. And they have crazy high resolution to measure nanoparticles, and it's I've seen them, and they've got it somehow connected to a microfluidic setup so that single cells can be oscillated over the cantilever continuously.
Cool.
And then it's not an optical based technique, so I assume that there's no phototoxicity there. My only concern is the flows, but I don't know what the flow rates are. But I think they've even cultured eukaryotic cells in there. So anyways, that's a technology that I'm not aware of anybody in this community applying. But I also am not I'm not aware of groups outside the Manalis lab that are using that technology either. So but they could be somebody to reach out to, because they're measuring both. I think that what they measure is buoyant mass. They use solutions of different densities, and then based on changing the solution, they can back out the density of the cells. Anyways, this is a thought.
That makes sense, yeah.
I'm going to drop a link in.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Okay,
James.
folks. I think we're going to close this out, and I look forward to hearing, reading about all of your work and making this a more dynamic community. Thank you very much. Bye
Thanks,
now.
John. Ciao.
Thank you, John. Bye-bye.